Now, there's no doubt about it that by far the most anticipated Star Wars TV show of 2023 is indeed the Ahsoka Tano series that's going to star Rosario Dawson and a handful of other actors/actresses that's really going to lead the show into something completely new for the fans that they have never seen before by Dave and Jon. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new Star Wars universe is that yes, we do have George, Jon, and Dave all working together as a team to really bring back Star Wars Legends. And that is their overall end game, is that they want to bring back the very important highlights from the Star Wars Legends universe, such as stories from the Throne Trilogy, Dark Empire, Shadows of the Empire, you name it. So here we are, it is the end of September already. Time is just moving along very quickly before we head into the new year, which is when we're finally going to be able to see Mando Season 3, Ahsoka, and other shows out there. Favreau recently has been very more, involved and talkative with the Star Wars fan base and the overall community about his stance on the Star Wars franchise and how he actually thinks about Kathleen Kennedy when it comes to her stance on Star Wars as well. And there's been a lot of things, happening behind the scenes between Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas, and the Disney executives regulating Star Wars for a more positive future. There's a lot of things going on to really clean up Lucasfilm as a company to give it a better future and a brighter chance for the franchise. So, with that being said, however, what's even all the more intriguing is exactly what Favreau recently had to say to the Star Wars fandom. So, with many new Star Wars TV shows currently in the works by Disney and Lucasfilm, both Favreau and Filoni are actively developing The Mandalorian Season 4 that is set to deliver an exciting Luke Skywalker story. However, in a recent interview that Jon Favreau got involved in, he went on to apologize and admit the truth about a certain project he had worked on. Favreau went on to say the following to the fans: "Well, one thing I must put out there to the community is that it was never in my full control when it came to the Book of Boba Fett. Myself and Dave were going over the criticism very carefully, and I just wanted to let all the fans know that this project was not fully in our hands, as this was an extension of what the Fett movie was supposed to be and what Kathleen Kennedy initially had planned for a theatrical release." So, before I move on to the next thing of what Jon says here, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Boba Fett movie was supposed to be done in 2020. Of course, for obvious reasons, that did not happen, and things just got tangled with the show, or the project, I should say, that turned into a show. And the main reason why Favreau did not have a lot of control, as it seemed, is because Kathleen Kennedy actually was the one who held the contract over that project, and how it was going to be pretty much, run by either, of course, the creative team or the sole creator. So, the Boba Fett series was basically what the movie was going to be like. And there was a lot of talk about James Mangold joining in, I believe, as a writer at the time, and then he was denying it, but then, he kind of backtracked and said he was involved, then he said he wasn't. It was a very weird scenario. So there was a lot going on with the Boba Fett series, and a lot of creative differences between Kathleen Kennedy and different creatives that were on and off of the project. By the way, they never got to film that movie. It was all script-based and concept art and storyboard based. That's as far as they really went. Just basically making a vision, and a lot of that got transferred over into the show. So basically, we would have gotten a Boba Fett series as a movie on the big screen. I don't think it would have turned out well, to tell you the truth. So, moving on forward from all of this, alright, now Favreau goes on to admit the truth even further about how he actually feels about Robert Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys know about the whole Robert situation, but Robert Rodriguez completely misled the entire Star Wars fans. I mean, he said that the show is going to be all killer, no filler, that it was going to be strictly about him hunting down his enemies one by one. It didn't really seem like we got that. It really seemed more around the lines of focusing on his character development. And to each his own, you know, but that's not what the show was. It wasn't really all killer, no filler. If anything, I think it was more so reversed. So, he goes on to say the following about Robert Rodriguez. Alright, this is where things get a little bit more involved. Also, Robert was able to make some of the core choices for the series, and I do apologize deeply if Robert misguided some fans into thinking that this show was going to be all killer, no filler. We never intended to make it like that in the marketing, or even market it like that, and I really am sorry if we set up the wrong expectations for the show. But if it were all up to me, I would have done the show very differently, which is why myself and Dave are looking into new paths, avenues, and possibilities on how to bring the Boba Fett character back in a far darker tone that we noticed the majority of the community was asking for, the classic bounty hunting side of Boba Fett. Now, to just stop you guys here for a second, this is all alluding to the fact that, yes, the second season of Boba Fett, it is in the works. It will be announced next year. Keep your eyes open for that too. That is currently being written by Jon Favreau, and this is most likely what he's alluding to. Now, he goes on to say, this was a story extension of what the movie was supposed to be like before it got cancelled and salvaged into a series. So we did our best, and I am looking for the future on how we can utilize Boba in such a different way for the fandom that's not only going to be very engaging, but also very dark. Now, one thing I gotta say about Favreau before I get to the next thing here real quick is that we all know that Favreau loves the Boba Fett character. If you guys have watched his previous interviews about the Mandalorian Season 1, he went over how he actually used Boba Fett almost like a template for the character of Din Djarin, but wanted to create something different and new. That's where he got the inspiration of Din Djarin from. It was all based on Boba Fett because Favreau flat out said Boba Fett is one of his favorite non-Jedi, force-wielding type of characters. And I think that's a very, interesting aside because it goes to show you that Favreau is so limited to his abilities with the Boba Fett series, and Kathleen Kennedy really had a lot of control over the show. She did. Same thing went for the Kenobi series, and the main reason why is because they were extensions of the previous movie versions of themselves. That's why. And ever since she lost creative power back in early 2020, she's not involved in anything except for Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte, period, the end. That's all that she's involved in right now. So I think it's very nice that Favreau finally came forward, set things straight with the fans, made it clear to the fans that he was never in full control. He is very deeply sorry about the whole situation of what happened with Robert, about how he didn't really mean it. I don't believe he meant it, to be honest, guys, but he did mislead the fans into thinking that it was going to be like a all-killer, no-filler, John Wick-style Boba Fett show. That's kind of what it was hyped up to be. That's how Robert Rodriguez kind of hyped it up as. And it really turned out to be the opposite. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.